Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you. All right, let's see what we can do today on this day of all sorts of different things. And I'll be on, hold on, I've got cords going all over the place, messing with everything, and I haven't even had my coffee yet, so goodness gracious, we got to get going here. All right. Well, a lot of things are going on today. So this is one of the years that Valentine's Day falls on Sunday. So today is Valentine's Day. It's also, as I alluded to earlier, like negative 500 degrees outside. It's the coldest Valentine's Day on record, apparently, for here in Missouri. So, dear Alaskans, Minnesotans, Michigans, Wisconsins, whomever you are, you need to come get your weather. It's in my backyard, and it's stacking up. So if you could come get that, that would be great, because it's also freezing pipes at church. So that's not cool. And let's see, and it is our last Sunday before Lent. Lent begins this week. So lots of, and our reading today talks about what we call the Transfiguration. So lots and lots of different things going on. And also my kid got face planted outside just before church started. So we've got a lot of stuff going on today. So how do we make meaning of all these different things that we have going on? And I think at the very, very core of it, because we also have the story of Elijah and Elisha. At our very, very core, it is the fact that we must be shocked into seeing what is truly important before we're ready to really do the work that we are called to do. And I think that is something that hopefully we can talk about today. So, like I said, there are lots and lots of different things going on. So first, I want to have us as Christians reclaim Valentine's Day, because I know Valentine's Day is kind of one of the most hated holidays. It's really cool to hate on Valentine's Day. So I do want to acknowledge that. And you know what? I think we live in a world with so too little love that mocking any kind of love seems appalling to me. So please don't make fun of Valentine's Day around me. I get that maybe it's not your holiday, but we live in a world that needs more and more and more and more love than we have in it. So be it romantic love or love of your community, love of your friends, whatever it is, love ought to be celebrated in all of its various forms. So I'm not here to mock Valentine's Day at all. In fact, I do want to talk about the history of Valentine's Day, because I think it actually does have something to say to us about the importance of standing up for love in places where it isn't accepted. So one of the stories of St. Valentine, and there are several, in fact, there are probably several different St. Valentines. It's kind of one of those, they all got kind of collected into one. But the one that I think is really important for us and our society today is this one. So there was a priest during Roman times. And at that time, it was commonly known that men who are in love are easily distracted from work. Yeah. Crazy, right? And it's everybody else's responsibility to make sure that men don't get distracted from their work. You want feminist Meg to go on a rant here about why we can't let girls wear spaghetti scraps in school. I can, but we're not going to. But how the Roman army dealt with this is they said, soldiers cannot marry because they will get distracted from war. Because, who wants to go spear people and have hand-to-hand combat when you could be at home with your hot wife? Right? I mean, come on. So they said they couldn't marry. But Valentine disagreed with this intensely. He believed that people had the right to marry. And so he would marry them in secret to make sure that people who love each other could get married. Now, I often allude to this because I think this is really, really important. When I was first ordained, same-sex marriage had just become legal in Iowa, and it was not legal across the U.S. And the Episcopal Church had a really strong stance on this, and we supported same-sex marriage. And so St. Valentine was really, really important to me because you had a priest who said, I don't care if what you believe should be illegal, you make illegal. I'm going to do what is right because love comes from God. And what God proclaims is way above what some old white dude in a big city somewhere deemed right. And so Valentine did what he thought was right. And so I do think we as Christians should reclaim Valentine and the idea that we proclaim love even when it is mocked, forbidden, rejected, all those things. We claim love. We claim love, we proclaim love, and we glorify love, even when it isn't necessarily glorified in our society. So please don't ever mock people who are in love because, as I said, our world needs more love. Be it love of creation, love of one another, love of ourselves. We need love. And remember that the love that we have in our world, our human love, is a tiny little glimpse, a tiny little glimpse of God's love. And it's one of the many windows that we have of experiencing and seeing God, is experiencing and seeing love here in our world. And that is sacred. And that is so very, very important. And along with that, I want to talk a little bit about the transfiguration, because remember that these guys have been hanging out with Jesus for a while now, for quite a while, doing ministry with him. So they've seen him do incredible, amazing things, right? And yet they don't get it. They don't get it. They think they do, but it's not until there's this big aha, slam them in the face, knock them down on their butt, do they get, oh. And you and I need that in our lives. And to be honest, I think that's what love often is. Love is the thing that makes us see things for what they really, really, truly are. Not with our eyes, but with our hearts. And that is so important because we can learn to dislike people. We can learn to not care about creation. We can learn to not care about animals. We can learn to not love by distance. By only seeing with our eyes, seeing from a distance, we don't fully see God's creation. In fact, several senators this week decided to go up in the balcony because they didn't want to see the evidence of what had happened at the Capitol. Because if they saw it with their eyes, they might have to feel with their hearts, and they didn't want to do that. So they ran away. They didn't see what they didn't want to see. And we've all done it. We've all been driving down the road, and we've seen a stray animal. We've all been driving down the road, and we've seen something, and we didn't want to see it. So we looked the other way. Because sometimes when we see, we're worried that we'll feel. And we don't want to feel it. Because if we feel it, then it's real. And we are called to do something about that. And so it's in this moment that suddenly these three disciples see Jesus for who he truly is. They realize that he's the Christ. He is transfigured. It kicks them in the face. Like I said, it knocks them out. And for a little while, it leaves Peter speechless. Not for too long, because Peter is never speechless for too long. Peter always has something to say, usually when he shouldn't. And then God has to slam him again and say, shut up, Peter. Shut up. This is my son, the beloved. Listen to him. Listen. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Peter, stop using your mouth so much. And I know, my kids are over here grunting because you would not believe how often they hear that. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. You should use one twice as often. That's like one of the classic megisms. So this is really, really important because it's something that you and I need to be reminded of. You and I need to be slammed in the face sometimes and knocked on our butts to see God in the world around us and to be called out of our narrowness, our blindedness, our ignorance, into doing what we are called to do. And as I said to you, this is our last Sunday before Lent. Lent starts Wednesday, on Ash Wednesday. And while we won't be together physically for Ash Wednesday, which means I won't get to, smear ashes on you, we'll be together in this way. We'll still be streaming. But as we prepare to enter into Lent, we need to be slapped in the face again. We need to be awakened to what we are called to do, what we are called to see in the world, who we are called to be in the world. We are called to proclaim a love so great that you and I can't fathom it. That the mere glimpses of love that you and I see sometimes for our children, for our spouse, significant other, for our family, for our pets, for the world around you when you're in the middle of the woods and it's not negative 500 degrees and the sun is shining and the trees are in full bloom and you suddenly feel a wash in grace. Those are tiny glimpses of the love of God. And until we're smacked in the face with that, we're not ready to do the work that we are called to do of the resurrection. And so I call you today, take a minute, whether it be staring at a snowflake, a single snowflake. Go out today. There are plenty of them. Look at one. Cuddle your dog a little bit closer. Cuddle your kids a little bit longer. Have a phone call with somebody that you haven't talked to in a while. Do something to be reminded, to be slapped in the face of a love so strong that you and I cannot make sense of it. But even though we can't make sense of it, by God, like Valentine, we can proclaim it. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.